All right. So you're welcome again to topic 4 of cybersecurity roles. So today we'll be dealing with various roles in cybersecurity. So gone are those days that people think that security is just all about technical affairs. It's just all about IT affairs. So cybersecurity has gone beyond just not just being technical. So come to think of it, if there is any major breach, maybe in any business, as you're aware that nowadays businesses are driven by technology, and if that technology are being compromised, that can ground the business. So cybersecurity should be seen as a business risk, especially the cybersecurity risk. It has gone beyond just a technological risk, and has gone beyond the risk of if things goes wrong, it will be a technical risk. Because if there is a major breaches, the breaches can affect the business no matter how big or small the business are. So we'll be looking at the various rules in cybersecurity. So if you look at it, if you look at on my screen, you can see the pyramid. At the bottom of the pyramid, we have the cybersecurity practitioners. So then the next on the pyramid is the security management. After that, we have the executive management. After that, we have the board of directors. So let's start with the cybersecurity practitioners. So cybersecurity practitioners design, implement, and manage processes and technical controls and response to events and incidents. So the cybersecurity practitioner, they can be likened to the frontline army. You know, if let's place that an attacker is trying to attack a city or a nation, there's the frontline army, the frontline soldiers that will come up with a way to combat the attack. So, but beyond the army, they have a commandant, they have a captain that give them the directions. So the next phase of the pyramid is what we call the security management. So the security management develops security and risk mitigation strategies, implement security programs, and manage incident and remediation. So the security management can be like maybe cybersecurity manager or the head of a information security department for very small organization. So the aim of the security management is to develop security and risk mitigation strategies, implement security programs, and manage them and remediation. So the security management phase can be likened to the commandant or the army general that order the frontline soldiers. So beyond the security management, we have the executive committee. So the executive committee set the tone of cybersecurity management and ensure that necessary functions, resources, and infrastructure are available and properly utilized. And the last of all, we have the board of directors. So the board of directors identify key assets and verify that protection levels and priorities are appropriate. So the best approach to drive cybersecurity is to make sure that you have a tone at the top. So that's the reason nowadays, especially for large enterprise, especially big banks or big financial institutions, they ensure that they have the executive people that that will be held accountable in case if anything goes wrong. So they will always have the steering committee, information security steering committees. So in most financial organizations, because financial organizations are very, especially the banks, are heavily regulated. There's the information security.
Hello, Mr. Zechariah.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, what is a steering committee?
Okay, the steering committee has a set of executives from various departments. For example, in a bank, a member of the steering committee, yes, a steering committee, information security steering committee can be head by the CISO, the Chief Information Security Officer. So, but it must be a good representative from different departments. Maybe the Chief Information Officer might be there, the Chief Audit Executive, the Chief Compliance Officer, all the stakeholders, all the executive stakeholders. I don't know whether you get me. So I'm just explaining in a real life, maybe for example in the banks, what make up the executive committee.
So what do they discuss?
They discuss information security strategy, they discuss the high level of the project that they are working on, if there's any challenges, if there's a major incidents, if there's any trend. So definitely in most cases is a chief information security officer that will be the chairman, but just to ensure that the cybersecurity is not just being left to the chief information security officer alone. So, and they discuss about the information security project, if there's any program initiatives that the company is working on, and they meet on a quarterly or periodically. So depending on what the organization decides, some organization might decide that, you know what, that they might be having a meeting twice in a year, or 3 times in a year, or 4 times in a year. But it all depends on the size of the organization. For very big organization, they will always have a executive committee. So the executive committee can be the steering committee. So the security management, it also depends on can be headed by the head of information security, can be headed by security manager, but based on the scope of information security, gone are those days that information security is being headed by one technical manager. But in big organization, because based on best practices and based on publication by various body like ISACA, even the Carnegie Mellon University. The Carnegie Mellon University, they have a very good information security. They're very good at information security research. I think information security degree started from Carnegie Mellon University. They also have a quite number of model and also advice that, okay, information security department should be headed by a C-level executive. And the person must not just be a C-level by just a title. The person must be equivalent in rank to other C-level executive like chief financial officer, chief, you get what I'm saying? So that, so because if the person that is leading the security management is a low-level staff, it will affect some the security might not be able to take some critical decision. Actually, the head of the function might not take it. But if the person is portfolio is high enough, the person will be able to convince the management and all of that. I don't know whether you get my point. So in some cases, based on the, I think around 2014, based on the statistic, I think about 33% of CISO report to CIO, which is wrong.
What is CISO again?
CISO means Chief Information Security Officer.
Okay.
Chief Information Security Officer. About you know CIO now. CIO is Chief Information Officer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so about 33% of CISO report to CIO, which is wrong because which is not ideal because there is a kind of conflict of interest. You can't be checking yourself and at the same time, you get what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
another 33% reports to MD CEO, the chief executive officer or the president of an organization, depending on the structure of the organization. While the other 33% reports to other C-level executive like chief operating officer, chief financial officer, and all of that. But based on the analysis, the chief information security officer is the person that head the information security department. Must ideally be a must be ideally be reporting to either the board of directors or at the minimum reports to the chief executive officer or the president of the organization. So with that, you will be able to make or take certain decisions and all of that. Like in banks, you know, I think the bank, most banks so they are C-level and they also report to almost the board or the MD CEO or the president of an organization. Actually, I'm talking of the big banks. So, like JP Morgan, I believe that the chief information security officer must even might likely be a director. If I'm not, if I'm wrong, but in Nigerian context, the Central Bank of Nigeria given a mandate that at the minimum, the C-level, the chief information security officer in ranking must be equivalent to at least must be a C-level executive. It all depends on the, like in Nigerian bank, I think the C-level executives start from the assistant general manager, but I think it's like equivalent of maybe vice president or senior vice president in United States and states. So why do we have this pyramid? And information security should be seen as a business, actually information security risk should be seen as a business risk because a breach, information security breach can ground an organization. So beyond the executive committee, that also the board must also be held accountable. So the work of the board is to identify key assets and verify that potential levels and priorities are appropriate. So it's very, very important that the head of information security officer gives like kind of a periodic report to the board and all of that. So before we delve into the various,
I wanted to ask a question.
okay, you can ask a question.
Did you say the executive committee gives report to the board of directors?
Yes, the executive committee, yes, they give report to the board of directors, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Wanted to be sure.
yeah, so beyond this,
Okay.
so let me just use this is a typical organization of a CISO organization. CISO means Chief Information Security Officer. Gamson. This is the reporting line. And the CISO, depending on the size of the organization, should report to the CEO, at least at the minimum, or the board of director directly. So if you can look at this CISO organization, yes, if it's a very large organization, there's a room for deputy CISO. You get what I'm saying? You can say dotted line, Information Security Executive Council. So that means that the executives, the company executives like this chief information officer, chief risk officer, chief chief compliance officer must have a dotted reporting line to the CISO, even though they might be at the same cadre, at the same grade level. You get what I'm saying? But just to be sure, that's the best part is that information security. This organization was a publication from Carnegie Mellon University. It was released in 2015. Even though the role of CISO is evolving these days, but at least it's still a very good reference point. So you can see that the CISO might have like about 4 or 5 direct reporting lines. So we have the security engineering asset, maybe the head of security engineering asset will be able to so the security operating center. The security operating centers are the people that monitors incidents 24/7. If there's any incident, they flag incidents and also report the incidents. Then we also have the emergency operation and incident management. So these are the tier 2 or software analyst or the threat hunter.
So, excuse me. So the security operations center, are they the ones that report the incident? I didn't get that.
Yeah, so the security operations center, they are just in most organizations, they work 24/7. Their work is to be checking their screen, to be checking all the logs, all the security logs. You get what I'm saying? To be checking those logs to be sure that there's no incident. If there's indication of compromise, their work is to be the first level of information to the organization that it seems that there's a malware incident on a particular workstation before every other person in the security team work with them to stop the incident. Their work is to monitor incidents, security incidents, 24/7.
Okay.
Yeah, so in some organization, they work 24/7. They work in a shift, and so they monitor. They look at they configure alerts. They work with the security incident and event monitoring system. And so without the SIEM is a solution that is being used to aggregate all logs from different sources.
So so what is the full meaning of the CISO again?
Chief Information Security Officer.
Okay, Chief Information.
So the Security Operations Center aggregates, use a solution to make sure that all the logs are being aggregated to one single source and they keep monitoring. Then we have the emergency operation and incident management in case there's an incident. So these are the team that will be responsible for action to make sure that the incidents is being contained. Then we have the program management. So the program management manages all the security projects. So under the program management, we have the program management office. We have the governance, risk, and compliance. We also have the people that deal with external relationships, maybe external stakeholders within an organization and all of that. So under the security engineering and asset, we have the network security, the application security, identity and access management. We have physical access control. If physical security is under the information security organogram. So but in some organization, it's not under, like banks. I think they have people that handle physical security separately, but in some, it might be under the information security structure. So this is just a typical organogram. So that this doesn't mean that this is how every organization must run, but this is just like a kind of a template. That's how the information security organogram of an organization should be. So because as a security, you must understand the various roles and also understand where you fit in. But most of the security guys fit in here are the cybersecurity practitioners. But because we'll focus more on the practitioners and also what needs to be known when it comes to security management and all of that. So let's talk about the various domains in cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is very broad.
So my question,
Okay.
have we got into the, maybe because I didn't have the time to study, but sorry for this stupid question. I see that we started from topic 4. Have we got into topic 3 yet? I thought it was topic 2.
Yeah, we've done all of that.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
thanks.
And follow the stuff sequentially.
Yeah, I'll follow it. I won't lie to you. I thought I had COVID.
Okay, sorry.
I didn't go to work 3 days.
Yeah.
3 days I didn't go to work.
It's okay.
But I'm better now.
Yeah. Take care of yourself. Right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the various domains. We are still on section 1. No, section 1 has different topic, right? Sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's talk about the cybersecurity domains. No, cybersecurity is very broad. There are different roles under it, which I've explained with this organogram. You get what I'm saying? Some people can just focus on security engineering, under security engineering. Some people focus on network security or host security. Some people focus on identity and access management. Some people focus on information access security. Some people focus on application security. Under the security operating center, we have a tier 1, tier 2, SOC analyst. Then the emergency and response. So based on your background, you might want to be because of your background in program management. You can see that there's a entire portfolio of cybersecurity that you can easily fit. Yes, but it's always good. But this course, we're going to touch base on every aspect of cybersecurity. Right?
Yeah, Mr. Zachariah, is every aspect.
Yes.
Even if I have to get a job, then I start increasing my knowledge in the other ones, but at least let me be able to get an entire knowledge of every.
No issue. We touch base every aspect, right? So because it's always good for you to understand the aspect. So let's look at the various domains. So these are the cybersecurity domains. So we have about 5 domains, but these 5 domains can be, it's like a 5 foundation. You can spread it across. Again, you get what I'm saying? By the time we start doing this to it, you realize that the 5 domain can lead to about 30. We can call out about 30 different job functions from this 5 domain. So the first domain that we'll be talking about is cybersecurity concept, because it's very important as a professional to understand the fundamental principle, concept of cybersecurity. Then we also look at the security architecture principle. How do you design security from ground up? Maybe let's presume that you joined a startup organization that doesn't have information security department. How do you design? How do you, if you work in a very structured organization, this security architecture is an ongoing stuff. You get what I'm saying? Because new threats, we have new cyber threats every day. So you need to keep on re-architecturing your environment to be able to make sure that you are able to combat the menace of the malicious hackers. Then we have the security of network, security of systems, security of applications and data. What do I mean by security of networks? We are talking about the infrastructures, the networks, the system. We are looking at the network. We are talking of the networking, the switches, the router, the firewall. But the security of systems, you are looking at the various operating system, the security of your Mac Mac operating system, security of Windows operating system, the security of your servers, the Linux, the security of applications, and the security of applications ranges from your banking applications, your enterprise resource planning, your company website, then the data security too. So under this domain, it may have a different job functions under this domain, right? So you may have a network security engineer, you may have a Linux security engineer, Windows security engineer, AD security engineer, application security engineer, data security engineer, data privacy officer, and under this, we may have the cloud security, we may have a DevOps security engineer because technology keep evolving and all of that. So then we also talk about the incidents and response domain, the people that respond to cyber attack, that responds to, so there must be a dedication team doing that. Then we also have the security implication and adoption of developing technology. What are developing technology? Evolving technology include blockchain, include beyond blockchain, cloud security, artificial intelligence, robotic, and all of that. The Internet of Things, operational Internet of everything. So let's start with the concept, the cybersecurity concept. So now the concept we'll be dealing with, we are now in section 2, right? So we'll be covering the risk management terms, concept and framework. We'll also be talking about common attacks types and vectors. We'll be talking about malware. We'll also be talking about the framework and guidance for policies and procedures. We'll also talk about the cybersecurity control process. So let's start with the topic one, which has to do with the risk. The risk is applicable to in cybersecurity. I know that you are familiar with risk, right? Yes. So risk is just the probability that something bad would happen, and the best approach to cybersecurity is for you to look at it.
Is it something bad will happen, or if we don't do this, something can happen, right?
Yeah, something can happen. Yes. So let me just remove that word bad.
Okay.
The probability that well, in most cases we are always referring to bad. You get what I'm saying?
To bad things, yeah.
To bad thing. So you cannot just set up an organization and believe that everything will be fine, right? And that's the reason why even our life too, in our personal life, we have insurance, we have a health insurance. Nobody pray for sicknesses, but it's always good for you to make sure that you manage yourself, and also make sure that so insurance is a means of you mitigating the risks. So the best approach is to look at cybersecurity from a risk-oriented approach. Assessing risk is one of the most critical functions of a cybersecurity organization. Using a risk-based approach to cybersecurity allows informed decision-making, better protection, and effective application of budget and resources. Because if you know that something can happen, that will help you to allocate your budget and also be able to manage your infrastructures, invest on information security, tooling, invest in people, and invest in also making sure that the organization have the right culture. So risk is good because it make us to make an informed decision. Like, for example, if somebody have a medical insurance, so it make us to be able to protect ourselves better that like this COVID vaccine, so that in case if does somebody contact the virus, because there's no way you need to interact with different people, you can't isolate yourself for forever. And so should the case, if the virus gets to your body, so the virus will not have a serious effect on your body, and your immune system will be able to deal with that virus. So the same thing approach should be looked at in cybersecurity. Don't just assume that there won't be any cyber threats. You know what I'm saying? Or any organization that is serious minded, especially if it's a technology driven organization like banks, fintech, telcos, or even virtually all the organizations that I know, and they are technology, even the hospitality organization is a tech based, you know. So you must also be thinking that, okay, the bad guys, the malicious guys can attack. So if you look at it from the risk-based approach, you to be able to make a better protection and informed decision. So even though there are three different approaches to cybersecurity, but the best approach is risk-based anyway. So in the traditional security, there is an ad hoc approach. This approach simply implements security with no particular rationale or criteria. It may be driven by vendor, marketing, or reflects insufficient subject matter expert knowledge or training when designing and implementing safeguard. This ad hoc approach, actually people that are not so well guarded in cybersecurity, a vendor can just come up to meet them, and tell them, this tool is the best for your organization. If you implement this tool, you'll be able to combat all the cyber attack and all of that. So this shouldn't be just like the case of human being. You don't just take any drugs. So anybody that take any drug, maybe if you are force sick, you just take all sorts of drugs. That's not the best. You get what I'm saying? So the ad hoc approach is more or less like you dancing to anything that comes to appeal to your mind as cybersecurity professional. You just do. Then we have the compliance-based approach. So this compliance-based approach at times can be known as standard-based security. It relies on regulations or standards to determine security implementations. Controls are implemented regardless of their applicability or necessity, which often leads to checklist attitude towards security. Like, what do I mean by compliance? Like the compliance to the governmental policy, privacy policy, compliance to the PCI, payment card industry standard, and all of that. Yes, compliance base is good because it always have a checklist, but that is not enough, because so many organizations, they are compliant to various standards, but yet they get breached. They are compliant to ISO 27001, PCI DSS, and all of that. But I think the best approach for you to look at the risk base, or you comply both compliant base and risk. You combine it with a risk-based approach. If you do that combination, you will be able to effectively manage your organization's cyber security risks, because the risks will definitely happen. So let's look at the various definition of terms. So before we talk about the risk and the risk-oriented approach, for the rest of this course, everything will be based on the risks and based on approach. So we need to understand this concept, the concept of assets, the concept of threat event,